What is up, guys? Today I'm gonna put the tracks on the Ranger here. I got a 1000, so basically we're just gonna jack her up, pop the wheels off, and throw the tracks on one at a time. So these are the anti-rotational parts that just go right up in under here. My machine's super messy, which would be nice to have it cleaned for this project. So if you're doing it, that's what I would suggest. Just hose it off and make sure you don't have any dirt and stuff anywhere that can get in your threads. But I just want to get her done today real quick, and so I'm just gonna throw them on. So first we're gonna jack up the rear end. Use a couple blocks because I know I'm gonna need to be way higher than it is now. You actually need a special socket on these ones, a spline socket. I just had one sitting around because I work on cars all the time. So to pop the wheels off, I just got a impact here with a 3/4 inch, and the spline socket slides in there. Pop them out. Put them in there pretty tight. Didn't want my wheels falling off. Just like that, we got one wheel off. Here are your lugs. Keep those. Ripping off the top of this mount here so that dirt doesn't get in our way when we're setting them in there. You want it to be as tight as possible. If there's a piece of dirt sitting there, creates a gap, that could cause it to be a little jiggly. All right, well, that should be ready to slide in there, so now we're gonna do that. All right, so I put her in neutral. Put it in neutral so I can spin this freely. There we go. Now you can just use your same lug nuts here. Always make sure your lug studs are clean, otherwise you'll strip a thread. Like I just ran into something there. So I'm gonna spray a little bit of brake cleaner on there. Clean it out. And then it should just go on like butter because the threads are clean. You can spin these if you want. You're gonna have to impact them on anyway.
Just like that, that track is on, but now we have to get that anti-rotational device put in. So this will be the fun part. So I should put some jack stands under here so I can get this to come out here. And I gotta slip a bolt in through there. So probably put a couple jack stands. I gotta throw a couple jack stands under here first, and then try and get that plate in. It'd be much easier to record if I had it on the lift, but I was feeling lazy, didn't want to take my cars down. This long bolt just goes through right there and to the other side, but I gotta get her to line up. So get under here. So you got this goes through, and then the sleeve, it's like a spacer, and then a nut. And that goes right there. So gotta put this sleeve up in here. Now I got that bolt through. It's right there. Now we got 3/4, and we're just gonna try and get her on here. Then on the bottom here, there is this bolt with the sleeve that goes up to a nut right there. So that takes a half. So we're just gonna tighten that one up. And then this track will be on. All right, I got the rear tracks on. That was not as bad as I thought it would be. Basically, it's tighten this nut down here, and then get this bolt slid through, and then that one with a nut through there to hold that bracket straight. That's pretty much it. Wasn't bad. I just ran into a couple little problems. Like my threads were dirty, so I had to clean them off with wire brush. Just cleaned them off, sprayed them down with some brake cleaner. So yeah, I mean, they went on pretty easy. I'm missing one lug nut back here, I just realized, so I'm gonna have to run up to Me's and get a lug nut for that. So now I'm gonna do the front. I think the front's a little bit more involved. It looks like you gotta slide these into certain slots in there. So we'll have to see when I get under there what it looks like. But I'm gonna jack up the front now and then take off the wheels and we'll start looking at her. Front track here, actually pretty similar. So this plate goes on top of that plate with these two bolts in that hole and that hole. And then this under here literally just flips up here. It's got to be around those brackets, and you just got to get the bolts in there. So kind of hard to record there, but once I get her put together, I'll show you what it looks like. All right, I got the one side on. It was honestly, the fronts were way more of a pain than the backs, because you got to get this brace to line up over that cross arm. It was a bit of a pain. I would suggest when you have it up in the air, you're gonna have to lift this up, put something under it so that this comes back and can line up with these bolts. What I did is I put the top part on first with the bolts through it, because you have to get right there under that. So you gotta slide it in from up here, slide it in, set it down, and then you gotta put this bottom one on and you gotta get it to line up. And I was having a problem getting this to line up. So I basically just kind of pried around until I got it to line up good. I just used a little, this is from my tire machine, but I pried in here, right here, to push this bracket out so that I could get that to line up in there. But that one is on. So it was a project, but she's finally on. Now I just got to finish up the other one. I actually stopped working on the other one to work on this one because I couldn't figure out the other one. Then I had the same problem and I figured out the problem. So yeah, tracks are pretty much on. A couple more bolts and she'll be good to go. This is my first time ever doing this, so it's a little probably easier once you know what you're doing, but I'm getting there, so I'll let you know when I get her finished. Well, just like that, tracks are on. I got a couple things I'm just gonna tighten up quick. I'm gonna make sure all these bolts down here, where the brackets are tight, because you don't want those flipping when you're going. And then I gotta run and get one lug nut, but overall it took me a couple hours. It wasn't bad. Definitely beats paying however much they charge you to get them done. So gotta go get one lug nut from Mees and then yeah, be done. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys learned something here. I used a 15 on those, on the top bolts over here. I think it was like a 15 and 11/16. I mean, it could be both. I mean, they're kind of interchangeable, but so here and down here. And then they didn't loosen these on these anti-rotational things. Those weren't loosened. It's kind of goofy how these are set up because these are like right next to those. But I guess that's just how they work. So thanks for watching. Subscribe, comment for whatever you want to see next, and I'll be doing my best to do what I can. See ya.